time on Trials and Tribulations. Feel the power of attorney. In case you missed anything, I'm gonna fill you in on this case. Why would you help her?
It was revenge on our father.
Much to my shock, Iris revealed that she was more involved with Dahlia than I originally thought. Later, I broke Pearl's Cyclops and found out that Morgan was using her to channel Dahlia Hawthorne.
You are to take the place at the head of the Fae clan.
We'll settle everything in court tomorrow.
The end of it all begins today on Trials and Tribulations next!
Good morning. Oh, are you by yourself?
Morning, Pearls.
Mr. Nick, please tell me, what's going to happen to Mystic Maya?
I'm sorry, we don't know yet. The investigation is still going on, so I wasn't allowed into the inner temple.
Oh, I see. So, is Sister Iris still trying to remove those trick locks in the training hall?
No, she's the defendant in this case, so she can't be at the inner temple. I guess what I'm trying to say is she's required to be here in court.
Then how come she's not here in the defendant's lobby?
I have to admit it's kind of strange.
If you're looking for Iris, she's in the prosecutor's lobby.
Edgeworth. What's Iris doing over there?
She's going over today's testimony with the prosecutor as we speak.
Today's testimony?
You heard me. Iris is going to be testifying as a witness for the prosecution.
Wait, what?
The prosecutor is squeezing her for a confession, or so I heard.
Franziska von Karma, what are you up to?
I know what you're thinking, but Franziska isn't going to be the prosecutor today.
What? Then who is?
Who else would it be but Godot?
Godot?
Franziska is engaged in some important work back at the Sacred Cavern.
The Sacred Cavern? You don't mean that she's...
Exactly. She has been out there all night trying to remove those trick locks. With the head nun's assistance, naturally. We estimate that the last of the locks should be taken care of in about 3 hours. I hope everything continues to go smoothly and we receive some good news soon.
Yeah, thanks, Edgeworth.
Prosecutor Godot intends to nail this case shut today.
I'm not surprised.
Be prepared to fight like there's no tomorrow.
You don't have to tell me that.
I know. I can already see it in your eyes. You're not the same fever-ridden frantic maniac you were yesterday.
It's strange. On the way here, I decided that today would be the end of all this. Almost immediately after I made that decision, I felt myself getting stronger.
Interesting. Maybe you've passed your cold on to someone else. Literally. And with that, I leave the rest in your capable hands, partner.
Thanks. I still don't have the answers for most of the riddles plaguing this case. The circumstances around the murder of Miss Celeste Miss Misty Faye. The impossible flight Larry claims to have seen. And what that woman is really after. I will solve them all and bring this whole tragedy to an end!
Court is now in session for the trial of Iris of Hazakura Temple.
Your Honor, what are you doing here?
Oh, me? Well, my little brother came to visit me in my chambers earlier this morning. All of a sudden, in the blink of an eye, he developed a scorching fever and fainted. Therefore, I'll be standing in for him.
I see, Your Honor. So they're brothers. That explains a lot.
My poor brother, he looked a bit pale, not to mention sad that he couldn't be here.
It's impossible to predict what the future has in store for any of us. This is precisely why people feel the need to judge the past. And we of the court have been charged with the solemn duty of passing such judgment.
Well said, Mr. Godot. I understand exactly what you say, at least up until the end, anyway. Now then, Mr. Godot, please proceed with your opening statement.
Humans are fragile, fickle beings. Our hearts change with the shift of the tides. There's only one thing that remains a constant in this crazy world. The bitter darkness that lies at the bottom of this mug.
So then you mean... forget it. What do you mean?
During yesterday's trial, the accused refused to admit her role in the crime. But today, she had a change of heart. Sister Iris of Hazakura Temple has a confession to make.
Confession? The defendant?
Iris, why didn't she discuss this with me first?
Very well. This court will now hear the defendant's confession.
Upon meeting a beautiful lady, always ask her name and profession. That's one of my rules.
My name is Iris. I am but a simple nun undergoing training at Hazakura Temple.
Witness, is there something that you want to confess to?
Yes. But first, I want to apologize to Mr. Wright. I can't continue lying to everyone anymore.
It's alright, what is it?
Mr. Wright, I have to admit that I did play a part in this terrible incident.
Are you actually confessing? Are you saying that you were the one who murdered Miss Elise de Nim?
No, I'm not, Your Honor. But I dealt with the cover-up after the murder took place. After her spirit left, I took the lifeless shell of Mystic Elise and carried it to the Hazakura Temple courtyard, where I desecrated it.
What? Order in the court! Order! Witness, are you saying you were an accomplice to the murder?
Yes, that's correct.
What?!
3 minutes in court and I'm already covered in a cold sweat.
Huh. Everyone on the planet is an accomplice to something. It just happens to be that in this case, it's to murder. Isn't that right, Mr. Trite?
That Godot! So this is the confession they were conferring about! It pains me to say this, but it looks like Iris's testimony was all a lie.
Now then, little lady, if you don't mind, I've got a question for you. Whose crime were you trying to cover up by your actions?
Iris was covering up for someone! Now I'm definitely up the creek without a paddle or a life jacket.
I've been at Hazakura Temple ever since I was a little girl. Hazakura Temple is run by one of the branch families of the Korean tradition. One of our missions is to protect the main family.
I'm sorry, but main family?
Yes, and that's why I would dirty myself, if need be, to protect her, the daughter of the master of the Korean channeling technique, Mystic Maya Fey.
Wake up and smell the coffee, Trite.
She's naming... Maya!
Order in the court! So, not only did you witness the murder, you know the name of the murderer!
I'm terribly sorry, but it's true. I saw her commit the crime with my very own eyes, and then I cleaned up the area to try to protect her.
Objection! That's ridiculous! Maya could never do so!
The defense will refrain from commenting until the appropriate time. Now, witness, let's hear your testimony. What exactly happened on the night of the crime?
Yes, Your Honor.
I thought I was prepared for the unexpected. But I never imagined the case would wind up going in this direction.
I went to the inner temple that night and saw it all happen in the garden. I saw Mystic Elise strike Mystic Maya with her staff. While Mystic Maya was still stumbling, Mystic Elise moved in to deliver a fatal strike. Mystic Maya tried desperately to defend herself and stole the weapon. It was only in self-defense. You can't blame her for it.
So it was in self-defense?
Yes, Mystic Elise was the one who attacked first. That's why I tried my best to protect Mystic Maya.
You moved the victim's body to the temple so that Maya wouldn't be suspected. Isn't that right? Not bad. You've got the instincts of a true criminal.
Something's not quite right. I'm sure it was established yesterday that Iris never went to the inner temple that night. And that the person who did go was that woman. Iris even admitted it.
Now then, Mr. Wright, please proceed with your cross-examination.
Of course, Your Honor. Alright, this should be easy. That second statement's starting to bug me, because clearly it's not a staff! Objection! Actually, how about I not go for broke just yet? Even though Maya's not around to help me, I can still hear her in my head telling me that I shouldn't put out all my cards like that. I can approach this from a different angle. I hope. Wait, she said yesterday that she didn't go to the temple that night. I can call her out on that. Hold it! Sister Iris, your testimony has changed quite a bit since yesterday. You stated yesterday that on the night of the murder, you didn't go to the inner temple.
Objection! Did she now? Too bad for you, what she said yesterday doesn't mean much today. By the way, where were you when she claimed that she didn't go?
It was in the inner temple's training hall that God, son of a...
A private conversation between the two of you does not constitute a testimony. That would be properly described as hearsay.
What do you have to say, witness?
I just couldn't tell him the truth at that time. Mystic Maya. She's your girlfriend, isn't she? I didn't want to be the one to break it to you that I saw her commit murder.
There. We all understand how difficult this is for you. Now then, let's continue with the testimony. What did you witness in the temple garden?
Well, Your Honor...
I still can't believe she's calling out Maya on this, of all people. This can't be true. Hell, even her testimony's incomplete. What in the world happened after? Hold it! And then...
Mystic Maya, she turned things around and then... she used the weapon she had taken and lunged forward for a strike.
Witness, are you absolutely certain?
Yes, but believe me, she had no choice. If Mystic Maya hadn't done something...
Maya Fey's name would have been written on this autopsy report instead.
Yes, I see.
This is bad. I still can't put the pieces together. Unless I find a contradiction in her testimony, Maya's gonna get blamed for this.
I only have this to say.
Turbo lawyer power! And stole the weapon. What weapon was this? More importantly, why didn't Iris tell me she was testifying for the prosecution? I don't understand this. What am I missing here? I hate it when this happens. It sucks balls! Wait. Balls. You saw her hit Maya with the staff, did you, Iris? Well, explain how this sphere came flying off the staff! Objection! Hold it! You're saying that the victim attacked Maya, Miss Fey.
Yes, it was a truly frightening scene. Mystic Maya was struck hard on the head and looked like she was going to collapse.
What were you doing at the time? Why didn't you stop them from fighting?
I'm terribly sorry, Mr. Wright. I was frightened. I couldn't move. I couldn't even speak. I was in such shock.
That's perfectly understandable, my dear.
This doesn't sound right. I don't believe this testimony for a minute.
What happened after that?
The only way I could find a hole in this is if I knew what weapon she was talking about. Hold it! She moved in to deliver the fatal strike.
Yes, I'm sure of it. She threw down her staff and reached into her robe for a weapon.
Wait a minute! What was this weapon?
It was some kind of dagger.
A dagger, huh? And Lee Nim tried to stab her with this weapon to kill Miss Faye.
Yes, exactly.
You look like I did after I mistakenly took a swig of Worcestershire sauce.
Yeah.
Do you have a problem with the testimony we're hearing from your client, lawyer boy?
Do I have a problem with Iris's testimony? Damn right I do. Your Honor, I have a small problem with the witness's testimony.
You do? But this witness is your own client.
Yes, well, nevertheless.
That's fine. Witness, let's add your last statement to the testimony.
Yes, sir.
Hey, just a moment. It's my job to say that.
Listen, Gramps, I won't say it again. Final judgment will be rendered by me.
Yeah.
Okay, now, let's continue.
So Lee Nim used a dagger against Maya. Looks like I need to take my phone out because I call bullshit. Objection! Sister Iris, there's something strange about your version of events.
Huh?
Miss Nim throwing her staff away makes no sense at all to me.
But all you can do with the staff is hit someone.
Naturally, you wouldn't know this, Sister Iris, but the victim's staff had a special feature about it. As you can see, it's a sword. If Lee Nim really had wanted to kill Maya Fey, she wouldn't have needed to use a separate dagger. Not when she already had a sick-ass cane sword! Well, Sister Iris, what do you have to say?
Objection! That was an impressive bit of investigating, Trite. I never would have thought that there was a sword hidden in that staff. But even so, how should I put this? A longsword is unwieldy, and that's quite ineffective in close quarters combat. Maybe that's why she chose a dagger over her blade.
Well...
Anyway, the type of weapon she chose to use isn't what's important. The important thing is she tried to kill Maya Fey. As long as there's nothing strange about that, there's no problem with her testimony.
But there is something strange about this whole testimony.
Well, Mr. Wright, the prosecution has a point.
Very well, Your Honor. The defense will now present evidence to back its argument.
Mr. Wright!
I have here another piece of evidence that shows this testimony can't be trusted. Because Miss Lee Nim would never attempt to take the life of Maya Fey. Because she was the master of the Karain channeling technique. Take that!
Well, Mr. Godot.
If you ask me, the only thing that seems strange is the angle of Mr. Trite's index finger. Trite, sticking your finger in an electrical outlet might be a bit safer for you. Otherwise, it might get bitten off the next time you poke it in the wrong place.
I was implying she was her mother, you stupid coffee-drinking shit. If you think about their relationship, it's obvious.
Why don't you think it over one more time?
Yeah, son of a... Very well, Your Honor. The defense will now present evidence to back its argument.
Mr. Wright!
I have yet another piece of evidence that shows this testimony's complete bullshit. Because Miss Elise Denim would never attempt to take the life of Maya Fey. And the answer lies in this file. Here! Take that! Elise Denim would never have attacked Maya Fey.
How can you be so sure?
Because the victim's name was not Elise Denim. Her real name was Misty Fey.
Fey?
No! Not Mystic Misty Fey!
Well, who is this Misty Fey? Is she related to...
Misty Fey is the master of the Karain channeling technique. She is also the mother of Maya Fey!
Are you serious?
Is it really true, Mr. Wright? Was Elise Denim actually the great Mystic Misty?
There's no doubt about it. It looks like Iris had no idea.
I can hardly believe it.
The idea that she would try to kill her only daughter, one she hadn't seen in 17 years. Perhaps the prosecution could offer an explanation for such horse shit.
Order in the court! Upon first hearing the witness's testimony, it seemed natural enough. However, in light of some facts that have just been presented, one, that the victim supposedly threw away a sword during a fight, and two, that the two people battling to the death were mother and daughter, despite the facts being believable when taken on their own. When taken together, the entire story seems difficult to believe.
Hey, listen. There's nothing in this world that's impossible. Except for one little thing.
Yes? What is that one little impossible thing?
You still don't get it. You think maybe my beans are under-roasted, but you have no idea, Gramps.
Could you get to your point?
I heard this witness's confession this morning. Just as I had taken the first sip of my 8th cup of morning coffee.
You're going to ruin your health, my friend.
Anyway, after hearing this woman's confession, I had a detective who loves to investigate sent to the scene of the crime. And he discovered this little beauty.
Is that the dagger the witness testified to seeing?
Obviously, Your Honor. But do you not notice something else?
Now that you mention it, if you look closely, there appears to be a bloodstain.
Where did you find that? I didn't see that when I investigated the crime scene.
Did you investigate the pine tree at the crime scene?
The pine tree.
This dagger was stuck in the backside of the pine tree. When the last blow was struck, ending the violent battle between the two women, this little baby was thrown in the direction of the back of the pine tree.
Which means the blood on the dagger belongs to the victim, correct?
Were you even listening, old man? I first heard this confession this morning, just as I had taken the first sip of my 13th cup of morning coffee.
Didn't you say it was your 8th just a few minutes ago?
I didn't even have enough time to get the blood analyzed on such short notice.
In any case, the court will accept the dagger as evidence. Furthermore, I order that a blood test be performed on it immediately.
This is my sweetheart. Make sure you treat her right.
Bailiff, get this piece of evidence to the crime lab for testing immediately. Now then, the testimony we've just heard had numerous unbelievable aspects to it. However, after having found the very dagger the witness spoke of, I believe we can consider her testimony to be credible.
Cute girls never lie. Ever.
What does that even mean?
In any case, witness, if you could please testify again to this court.
About what, Your Honor?
About the incident you saw, the battle between the two women.
Yes, Your Honor. Mystic Maya stumbled briefly after being hit over the head with the staff, but then she dodged Mystic Elise's next attack and stole her weapon. Suddenly, Mystic Elise was the one on the defensive, with her back to the stone lantern. That's when Mystic Maya stabbed Mystic Elise. Mystic Elise managed to fling the knife away, but then she collapsed.
That was a very heartbreaking story.
I don't know if there were any bad feelings between them, but it had been 17 years since Mystic Misty's disappearance. Perhaps they simply didn't recognize each other anymore.
That seems reasonable. Now then, Mr. Wright, proceed with your cross-examination.
And as usual, I'm back to square one. Wonderful. So, if the dagger did really exist, what would make Misty discard her staff? Hold it! What happened to the victim's staff, then?
I'm not sure. The area was very dark, so I really couldn't see. I think it got knocked away somewhere as the fight escalated.
That makes sense. That would explain the need for the dagger.
Mystic Elise raised the dagger to strike, but Mystic Maya dodged it at the last second. The dagger struck the lantern and fell to the ground. And then at some point, Mystic Maya picked it up.
Nothing sounds especially strange yet.
What did the victim do when the weapon was stolen from her?
Hold it! You're saying that Maya Fey turned the tables on the victim?
Yes. But Mystic Maya wasn't herself at the time. After all, her life was in danger.
I still don't believe it. The idea of Maya cornering someone at knife point, it's just silly.
As they say, a cornered fox is more dangerous than a jackal.
I believe the correct description of a cornered fox is scared and petrified.
Your animal analogies have grown tiresome.
You were the one who started it!
Anyway, so after Maya Fey backed the victim into the stone lantern, what happened next?
That's when Maya stabbed Misty. I don't believe this. I don't believe this one bit. Why in the world would Iris throw Maya under the bus like that? Hold it! Are you absolutely certain that's what you saw?
Yes, I'm almost certain.
Almost.
The garden was dark. I couldn't really tell who was who.
What did she just say? So in other words, it could have been someone else entirely!
Objection! We know that Maya Fey was at the Inner Temple that night. Isn't it fairly obvious who attacked who?
I don't have anything to counter that yet.
Well then, witness, please continue with your testimony.
Yes, Your Honor. The two of them faced each other for a moment. Then Mystic Maya rushed straight into Mystic Elise. Then Mystic Elise doubled over and fell to the ground.
So she was stabbed in the stomach, huh?
Yes.
So she managed to fling the knife away. Is there anything about... Nah, I don't think anything in the court record would make the cut here. How about I take a stab at this? Hold it! Where did that dagger go?
I have no idea. It was dark and I couldn't see.
According to the detective who found the dagger, it was stuck in the pine tree in the garden. Most likely it was flung towards the tree after the struggle.
That is the most likely explanation, yes.
After being stabbed in the stomach, did the victim collapse right away?
Now that I think of it, She seemed to stare at Mystic Maya for a while. And Mystic Maya stood there, not moving an inch. It felt for a moment like time had just stopped. But then suddenly, as if the spell had worn off, Mystic Elise fell over.
It seems like a reasonable story at first, but there's one thing that's completely impossible. The very idea of Maya stabbing someone, that alone is impossible! Which means this faulty testimony must contain another contradiction in it somewhere. Objection! Something about you just isn't right today, Iris.
Huh?
Until now, I didn't think you were the type to make such a careless mistake. However, the testimony you just gave contains quite a few contradictions.
What do you mean? What's so wrong about my testimony?
According to you, Maya Fey stabbed the victim who had her back to the stone lantern, correct?
Yes, that's right.
But in that case, the victim would have been stabbed in the stomach, right?
Yes, I think so.
But according to the autopsy report, the cause of death was due to blood loss from a stab wound in her back. This proves that the victim was stabbed from behind, not from the front. Sister Iris, it appears another seed of doubt has sprouted from your testimony.
What? What is the meaning of this, Mr. Wright?
It's simple. People are like books. We've all got a front and a back. You get my drift?
Is that all you have to say?
I can also say that darkness loves to play with the human mind.
Objection! Can you please knock it off with this too deep for me bullshit already? The point is, too much of this testimony just doesn't make sense. Throwing away a useful staff, the people fighting being mother and daughter. And now she falsely claims the victim was stabbed in the stomach.
There certainly are some inconsistencies.
Well, Iris, how about it?
Well, it's just...
If you ask me, you're just being too naive about the whole thing.
What do you mean?
There are 253 distinct types of bitterness in coffee, but to pick out each one requires total concentration and the use of all the senses. Were you really concentrating on what the witness actually said?
Prosecutor Godot, explain yourself.
The witness was quite unambiguous about her ambiguities when she said that the garden was dark and she couldn't see clearly. A human needs one thing to see clearly, and that is light.
Light?
By the way, did you know? The Inner Temple has a rule that on nights when the Alkalite is in their training, the stone lantern in the garden is to always be lit.
I did wonder what that stone lantern was there for.
Well, if that's true, shouldn't the witness have been able to see the crime more clearly?
Normally, yes, Your Honor. But according to the head nun, Sister Bikini, on the night of the crime, it was impossible to light the stone lantern.
Possible?
It hadn't been used in a long time, and the wick was no good. In other words, it had to be nearly pitch black in the garden that night. There could have been a faint light coming from the training hall, but that's all.
Most enlightening.
Yes, the illuminating fact has chased all the contradictions away. If the staff was dropped, it would have been difficult to see. It also explains why they didn't recognize each other. We can't see the demons that lurk in the night. That's why humans are weak. Isn't that right, Trite?
No!
Order, order, order!
Here, Your Honor, let me present the stone lantern into evidence. Maybe it'll rekindle the flame of truth in your mind.
Why is the judge just sitting there with that look on his face?
What's wrong, Your Honor? Was that flame too hot?
This lantern. There's something written on it. Also, I really have to go to the bathroom. Why, it's written in blood.
Oh boy. So the judge didn't know about that yet.
Written? In blood?
It says Maya upside down.
What the?
Oh yes, that's right. After being cornered and stabbed by Mystic Maya, Mystic Elise didn't fall down right away. She must have been writing that on the stone lantern behind her, with the blood that was draining out of her body.
It certainly looks that way.
Let's start project.